King David had two components to his personality. He was a general, a warrior, a ruthless warrior. He was also a poet. He was a singer. And so he had a very gentle side. And he also had an aggressive side. And I think if King David would look at Israel today, he would definitely see both sides. He would see a very powerful military with 18, 19, 20-year-old Israelis, which are willing to do whatever it takes to protect our country and to make Israel safe. But at the same time, if you would look at Israel's culture, at Israeli music, at Israeli TV, at Israeli, I know everybody's watching Shtisa now, at Israeli movies, he would see a very powerful poetic side. And Israel is trying, it's not always successful, to be a strong country and yet a very creative and soft country. We're not always successful, but in that sense, it is an attempt to be a Davidic type of a country. And I hope that David HaMelech, that King David, would see that if he looked at Israel today.
I would like, as a journalist, to interview King David. I don't know what would he say. I think, maybe like most of us, he would try to see how complicated it is, because there are so many positive, great, really gorgeous, beautiful things that are going on here. But on the other hand, there are so many negative, imperfect, and so many things that we still have to fix and correct and make them better. So I guess he would write a new chapter of Tehillim about our specific situation.
Things are totally unpredictable, but I could wish. The pasuk says, "Yi shalom b'cheilech, shalva b'armonotayich." Shalom b'cheilech refers to peace on the outside walls, and at this point in time, it really seems naive to speak about peace with all our enemies. But as we said, surprises happen. Sadat landed in Jerusalem. Nobody expected that. So hopefully we could reach a strong, viable peace. We should have the resilience to be able to fend for ourselves indefinitely, but it is definitely something to strive for. And then there is shalva b'armonotayich, tranquility, peace within your palaces. And that refers to inner peace, to social tensions. We're a diverse society, and we have often conflicting dreams for the state of Israel. We're a state that's Jewish and democratic, and different parts of society here have different interpretations for both these terms. What Jewish means, what democratic means. I pray we grow to live respectfully and connected, different but not alienated. In the true spirit of Bet Midrash, of Machloket, I might think you're totally wrong, but you're my brother, and you're my Chevruta, and you're the person that's going to hang around here for the next many years, hopefully, to build this country together. So when we wish for Shalva b'armonotayich, we wish for a country that's heterogeneous, diverse, but maintaining a true connection.
Well, to answer this question, one must begin with another question. Is there something spiritual that a state must strive to achieve? The state is a political entity, and its first priority is to ensure the safety and prosperity of the people who live in the state. And I think Israel is not different than other countries in this sense. I would hope that Israel survives till its 100th anniversary. I hope it lives securely. I hope it has a strong economy, a decent level of existence for anyone who lives here. But other than that, I'm not sure that Israel has a certain spiritual role it must achieve. I would want it to remain a Jewish state in the sense that it has a Jewish majority, a strong Jewish majority and hence a majority Jewish culture, meaning it will still follow the Jewish calendar when it observes certain holidays. It will still invest and develop Jewish sources and resources, and will have a discussion imbued by Jewish tradition and history. Other than that, I'm a little wary when people speak about great missions of states, and I would want the state to be humble when it strives to achieve goals other than keeping the safety and prosperity of its people.
I think the Jewish youth movements, they have that's quite a challenge, because in the past, the goal was very clear, okay? You know what you had to do when it was like 48, okay? We established the State of Israel. Or during the Holocaust, you had to survive. But now, at this specific point in our history, what is the challenge? How can we remain active, powerful, proud Jews when everything is allowed, everything's accessible? We live in a free world, Baruch Hashem. We live in a democratic, free world, thanks God. Now, how can we still remain, faithful and interested in Judaism? That's maybe even a harder challenge, being like heroes, Jewish heroes today. Maybe it's even harder than in the past during the history, because nobody's chasing us now. It's easy when someone's chasing you. It's easy to understand what's the goal when somebody's chasing you, but nobody's chasing us now. Now, how can we find within ourselves the goal?
It is very difficult for me to even answer the question, what is the role of youth movements today? I think youth movements today are mostly an antidote to some of the maladies of our modern society. You need to remind young people that there is life beyond the computer, beyond the cell phone, that people can actually have a conversation without the mediation of technical or electronical devices. You need to remind them that they can play outside and not just be indoors. So these are the things that the youth movement can do successfully today and hopefully 30 years from now. As to whether we will need a youth movement 30 years from now and what will be the exact role of it, I will leave this to people wiser than I am.
So the biography of the relationship between Israel and diaspora is complicated and interesting. In 1948, there was a sense among diaspora Jews that they need to help Israel out. Israel is weak and poor. It was a third world country. And the dominant emotion was compassion. In 1967, the emotions changed. Suddenly, Israel wasn't a weak country, but an amazing, powerful, successful country. The country that did the impossible in the Six-Day War. And the emotions changed. It wasn't in compassion anymore. It was pride. For many Jews in the diaspora, another emotion is now entering the conversation. And many times, pride is replaced with embarrassment. Not for all Jews, probably not for most Jews, but for many ones and important ones, and we need them also. I hope that the next emotion won't be indifference. As long as Jews in the world are either proud of Israel or embarrassed of Israel, we know they're emotionally connected to Israel. I hope that by 100 years, we'll be moving out of compassion, out of pride, and out of embarrassment to something new. Partnership. Us Israelis, we don't need American Jews or British Jews, Australian Jews to be our fans. And then we let them down, and now they're not our fans anymore. We don't see diaspora Jews as sitting on the bleachers watching us play ball. We want you here with us playing ball, helping us to figure out how to do this. And we'll always screw up. I'm sorry. We'll never really figure it out because we're imperfect. But we need you as partners, not as fans, as partners. So I hope that's the next phase of the important relationship between Israeli Jews and diaspora Jews, the phase of partnership.
Like other things in Zionist history, there were times where different sections of society assumed that the other is going to soon become irrelevant. Yeah, like Ben-Gurion might have thought that religious Jewry is going to burn itself out, and vice versa. I think today everybody realizes the diaspora is probably gonna keep on living and hopefully flourishing. When we talk about the relationship between Israel and the diaspora, there still is a first element of aliyah. I once heard from Rabbi Israel Meir Lau regarding the pasuk from Yeshayahu, Mi ele ka'av teufena uchayonim el arubotehem. There are the birds that fly like the clouds pushed by the winds, and there are the ones that are self-motivated to their homeland. So he says, it's always better to be the ones that come through self-motivation, and we should be blessed to have a lot of that. There will be, and there are very clear signs of that, people pushed away from their current communities through anti-Semitism. And I hope Israel will be the main address to those movements, even of those choosing to leave because they're pushed away.
You asked about two concepts. I think there are much more than two concepts today. These are complicated times, and there are so many goals, so many ways of shlichus, of finding your own mission. Some people have very important things to do abroad. Some people must come to Israel. Some people do it in the Torah field. They study, they teach. Some people do it in other fields. Okay, they have their own way, their own path. We cannot tell everybody to do the same thing. I mean, we can when it comes to halakha, when it comes to the laws of the Torah. We must all keep, that's the right way. But when it comes to our life, job, hobbies, the place where we live, the mission we take together as a family or as individuals, I do think there are so many ways to be a proud, active Jew today. You asked about two concepts. I'm talking about 200 concepts.
I don't see any contradiction between the call for Aliyah and the call for strengthening Jewish communities around the world. Clearly, the call for Aliyah was very urgent when Israel was established, when Israel was still fragile and weak. But today, Israel is strong enough to allow for people to live wherever they want without us in Israel fearing that we will not have enough people to support the state. Israel is growing economically, materially, demographically. The Jewish community in Israel is fast approaching a vast number of Jews. So for us to also support the strong and healthy existence of Jewish communities around the world with people with strong Jewish identities, with a sense of Jewishness, with a set of Jewish values, with a sense of community and belonging. This is not a contradiction to the classic Zionist vision of all of us gathering here in Israel. We will end up with a very strong Jewish majority living in Israel, and we still can benefit a lot from having strong, thriving Jewish communities all around the world.